You've reached that strange, uncomfortable space where nothing feels like it used to. The things that once grounded you now feel foreign. The routines you once followed don't seem to fit. It's unsettling, almost like you've slipped out of rhythm with your own life. But that discomfort, that sense of disconnection, isn't a sign of failure. It's proof that something within you is shifting, that, you're shedding an old frequency you've outgrown. You're in the quiet stretch between identities. And though it feels empty, it's not. It's sacred space. In this moment, you're not lost. You're being refined. In this message, we'll explore what that silence means. The 3 stages of pre-breakthrough alignment. So you can learn to trust the in-between. The dissolving, the confusion, and the rearrangement that always follows before renewal. There's a peculiar quiet that creeps in right before life expands. The noise fades, the pace slows, and even time feels as though it's holding its breath. You start to wonder if something went wrong, if maybe the universe stopped responding. But what if that stillness isn't a sign of loss? What if it's a sacred reset, the moment before the next chapter breathes in? In nature, every bloom begins with retreat. A seed vanishes into the dark soil before it rises toward light. A wave pulls back into itself before it breaks against the shore. That contraction isn't collapse. It's creation. The pause you're feeling is the soil preparing to nourish something new. What feels like nothingness is actually reorganization. The old energy has to clear before new frequencies can move in. Think of how a forest sometimes burns through its underbrush to make space for sunlight to touch the ground again. The destruction looks chaotic, even tragic, but it's a process of renewal. Without the fire, the saplings wouldn't grow. In the same way, your internal landscape burns through what's outdated. Habits, relationships, and versions of yourself that no longer serve your expansion. Most people misinterpret this process. When routines dissolve and old goals lose their spark, panic takes hold. You label it as loss, stagnation, or failure. But what's actually happening is deeper. Your energy is detaching from what has reached completion. The things that once pulled you forward no longer align with your vibration. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Psychologists even recognize this rhythm. Before major breakthroughs, in creativity, healing, or learning, there's often a dip in clarity and motivation. It's called destabilization. The brain temporarily quiets its old neural pathways to build new ones. It's like when your computer screen freezes during a software update. It looks like a glitch, but behind that stillness, the system is rewriting its entire structure. Spiritually, the same thing happens. Your energy withdraws from what's misaligned, so it can recalibrate. That pause, that uneasy stillness, is your soul integrating new information. So when life feels like it's slowing down or falling apart, remember, it's not collapse, it's coordination. It's life reorganizing around a new version of you that's still taking shape. It might look like people leaving, projects failing, or dreams dissolving, but those aren't endings, they're edits. Alignment is a sculptor. It chisels away what doesn't belong. And though that process can ache, it's also precise. Every silence, every stalled plan, every door that won't open is a form of divine timing in motion. It's the air clearing after the storm. Still, damp, fragile, but filled with potential. Beneath the surface, the roots are already forming. After the stillness, the fog comes. It's subtle at first. One day you feel calm, and the next you're restless, disoriented, even anxious. The clarity you thought you gained begins to blur. You can't tell what you want anymore. Your thoughts scatter, your emotions spike, and the simplest things feel strangely heavy. This is the second stage, confusion. It's easy to mistake this stage for regression. You think you're slipping backward, but confusion isn't failure. It's evidence that new energy is entering. It's the spiritual equivalent of moving furniture around in the dark. You can't see what's shifting, but you can feel it. Chairs scraping, objects sliding, familiar shapes changing place. You reach out for something that's always been there, and it's gone. You're standing in the unknown. The mind hates this stage. It wants to label, control, and categorize. When it can't, it panics. You overthink, overplan, and overanalyze in a desperate attempt to rebuild order. But what's happening isn't logical, it's energetic. The confusion is the sound of your inner world rearranging. It's an energetic vacuum, pulling in what aligns, pushing out what doesn't. Imagine your phone during a software update. The screen freezes. You press buttons, tap impatiently, wondering if it's broken. But the more you interfere, the longer it takes to complete. The stillness isn't malfunction, it's reprogramming. The same happens within you. You can't download a new reality while clinging to the old code. The fog is your mind buffering while your spirit upgrades. During this stage, emotions fluctuate wildly. One morning, you'll wake up inspired, glowing with certainty. By afternoon, you'll feel drained, detached, uncertain again. That's not inconsistency. That's energy recalibrating. The body reacts too. Fatigue, tension, even physical restlessness are signs that transformation is underway. The mind may call it chaos, but the soul calls it movement. Science supports this truth. Research in neuroscience shows that uncertainty activates the brain's threat response, the same system that responds to physical danger. When you don't know what's coming, the brain floods your system with stress hormones. That's why this stage feels like survival, but awareness is the key. Once you recognize what's happening, you can stop fighting it. The fog is protection. It slows you down so you don't act prematurely. It gives your energy time to catch up to your new frequency. Every delay, every mixed emotion is data being processed. You're being rewired for clarity that hasn't yet arrived. So don't demand definition. Ask for awareness. Awareness doesn't need certainty, it just needs presence. When you can breathe inside the fog without trying to fix it, something magical happens. You start to hear what silence has been trying to say. You start to feel the pull toward the next version of yourself. Not in logic, but in rhythm. The fog isn't meant to be solved. It's meant to be lived through. It's the cocoon before the wings unfold. The twilight between your past self and your becoming self. You may not recognize your reflection right now, but the new shape is already forming underneath. And then comes the third stage, trust, the most paradoxical one of all. You've survived the silence and walked through the fog. Now you stand in the clearing, that tender space between endings and arrivals. It feels peaceful, but fragile. You sense change is near, but you can't yet see its full outline. This is the moment the universe asks for your deepest surrender. Everything in you wants to act, to rebuild, to fill the gaps, to make something happen. But real transformation doesn't respond to force. It asks for stillness, not as inaction, but as participation in the right rhythm. We've been conditioned to equate success with motion. Every cultural message tells you that progress means pushing harder, faster, louder. But cosmic timing doesn't operate on deadlines. It moves through resonance, not resistance. When you slow down enough to match that rhythm, things start aligning without struggle. It's like standing in a river. The harder you thrash, the murkier the water becomes. But when you float, the current carries you exactly where you need to go. Right before expansion, life often clears space by removing what can't travel forward with you. A job might end suddenly. A friendship might fade. A plan might unravel. These aren't random collapses. They're divine recalibrations. The universe is redistributing energy, taking it from where it no longer serves and redirecting it to where it will. You're not losing anything essential. You're being lightened for the journey ahead. This is alignment in motion. It rarely announces itself. You just wake up one day and realize certain people, places, or desires no longer have a hold on you. The emptiness that follows is unsettling, but it's necessary. It's life setting the table for a meal you don't yet know you're hungry for. To navigate this phase, presence becomes your anchor. When fear whispers, return to your breath. When overthinking rises, bring your attention back to now, to the air against your skin, to the rhythm of your heartbeat. Journaling, meditation, or even a quiet walk can reconnect you with awareness. You're not trying to escape uncertainty. You're learning to coexist with it. When panic says, "It's all falling apart," curiosity asks, "What is this making space for?" That one shift transforms your energy completely. Panic closes doors. Curiosity opens them. The more open you remain, the faster alignment can move through you. This isn't about inaction. It's about acting from stillness instead of fear. You still take steps, but they're guided, not grasping. They come from intuition, not impulse. Even science reflects this truth. Studies in neuropsychology show that trust changes the body's chemistry. When you release control, cortisol drops, cognitive clarity increases, and creativity rises. You think clearer when you stop bracing for loss. You see more possibilities when you stop forcing outcomes. It's not mystical, it's biological. So the next time you feel the urge to fix, chase, or cling, let that moment breathe for you. Leave some spaces unfilled. Let the silence stretch a little longer than feels comfortable. The universe always fills what's meant for you, but only when you stop blocking the entryway with your constant motion. Trust is the bridge between uncertainty and manifestation. It's the invisible thread that turns waiting into becoming. The more you relax into the unknown, the faster alignment happens, because energy can finally move without friction. That's the real essence of surrender. Not passivity, but precision. You stop scattering your energy, and life starts to flow through you instead of around you. This quiet you feel now, it isn't permanent. It's the sound of new architecture forming beneath the surface of your days. The blueprint is already unfolding, drawn perfectly to the rhythm of your becoming. The silence, the fog, and the trust, they're not separate experiences. They're the same current, the same pulse, carrying you toward the next evolution of yourself. Each phase exists to bring you closer to your natural vibration, the one that hums in alignment with truth, not fear. So when you find yourself wondering if you're lost, remember, you're not. You're being positioned. You didn't miss your moment. You're standing right at the edge of it. If this message found you, it's not by accident. It's the universe's quiet confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be, right in the middle of your becoming. The void you've been afraid of isn't empty. It's full of movement, full of new life preparing to meet you halfway. The silence isn't the end of your story. It's the sound of the next chapter being written.